How do you overhaul a massively overinflated squad by a manager who is assigned far too many players than he needs to? When you've got a squad of 48 people and 11 pre-arranged transfers while trying to navigate the squad registration rules. This is episode 17 of Build a Nation with Vukovar and Croatia, and today that's exactly what we're going to try and fix. Hi, welcome back. So where to start really? I mean, it can be a bit overwhelming when you've got this amount of players in there. Normally, I would put all the lone players in the under-19 squad to make it a bit easier, but I think what we'll do in this episode is I'll show you what I do when I'm going to try and revamp a squad. There's clearly too many players in here. However, what I would say is there's a balance of really good, high-ability players and a whole load of players with high potential as well, which we need to keep in the squad. So the first thing I'm going to do before I even get into the squad planner is I'm going to look at the players who are due to expire in the summer this year. So all the way down to Zivkovic, and Maganic is going to leave as well. All of these players are going to leave for free unless we offer them a contract. Now, looking at the players who are in there and whether any of them have any potential, etc., I think that I'm probably just going to let them all go. Joseph Bognar is one that has got a little bit more potential, perhaps at 2-3.5 stars. However, he's also from New Zealand, so from a squad registration perspective, he's not that great. And is it really worth investing in when we've got several Brazilian centre-halves and a whole host of players coming in this summer? So the first thing we do is I'm probably going to move all them players on. The only caveat to that is if anyone's wanted, not on an end of contract. So Victor Net is wanted by Varadin on an end of contract, so they're going to offer him and take him on a free, that's fine. But Lucas Mateus is wanted by Olympia on a transfer, so I will just chance my arm, reduce his asking price a little bit and see if we can just sell him before we get to the end of his contract. Bit of a push, it might happen, it might not, but that's the first thing I'm going to do. So I will mark all them players with a little yellow dot, like you do in the notes. And for anyone who hasn't ever seen that before, just right click their name, go into MISC, create a note, and then just confirm it. When you go back to the squad, you should have a little yellow dot. So I'll go through all these players. I'll go through all the rest of the squad as well. Anyone who I think we can move on either because they're low potential, because that's another way to kind of weed out some of the squad. So Anthony Bauk, Levancic, Tot, Rodic, Pjanic, we'll get rid of all these. So I'll evaluate the squad, I'll come back and we'll see all the players that we maybe want to move on, including those who we may want to move on just for a massive profit. So stay tight, I'll be back soon. And there we go, so I've created notes against all them players, of which there's 20. So the 48-man squad we've got in a minute, we're going to reduce that down to 28 by trying to remove all the players we've got a little note against. And that's kind of step one in my evaluation of the squad, is working out who I really want to move on. Right, now step two is to go to the squad planner, and then on the squad planner I should see all the little yellow marks against all these names so that I can then remove them from the squad planner. So for example, Bunganer, he's not going to be there because I want to move him on. So that's going to leave me 3 goalkeepers, which is Almeida, who's going to become the number 1, Kovacevic, and Ivanov's coming in on loan. So I'll perhaps wait till Ivanov comes in on loan, make a choice as to whether we're going to loan him out or not, and that might actually lead to Kovacevic moving on. Now he's wanted as well by Al Raid and Farrell Constanta. Now ideally I'd want him to stay within the division, so we'll see how the transfer window develops. We might move Kovacevic on and take them 2 goalkeepers, but again it all depends on what Ivanov's like when he comes in and what the interest is like for him loaning. Over to the left hand side, again we've got Ethan Little, he's quite strong. Rodic, he's I don't know why he's not on the get rid of players. I'm guessing he's in the under 19 squad or something, or he's escaped my my clutches here. So going by potential, yeah, he's just escaped. There we go. So I've made one little mistake, missed him out off the notes, but we'll get back in there, correct that, stick a note on him, back in the squad planner, and then we'll remove him. So what this actually means is we've got a wide centre back coming in, so Dusa Gusparak, who's coming in potentially, remove him off, and that leaves us with Ethan Little and Nicholas Simic. There's so 2 left back, so that's an area of concern. We might look to strengthen in the window. Looking at the other players that are in here, then we've got Perpic, we're going to move on, so let's drop him off the list. A lot of these players are coming in on transfer, so we're actually looking quite strong at defence. So anyone else who's not a defender, so they're all defenders. So we've got a huge amount of players coming in. So this is looking quite promising from a centre half perspective. All of these players coming in. So again, centre half looking really strong. And I already knew this ahead of the transfer window because I've made a number of signings in the closed season. While we're looking at players coming through the scouting network and the next gen, we just took the opportunity to snap them in when we can. Right back, we've got De Jesus coming in, and actually this is one where Nicholas wasn't on my list of people to move on. However, I'm gonna add him to the move on list because he's Brazilian and also he's reached his potential. So he's at the best he's gonna be. So I'll probably look in cashing in, maybe getting a couple million for him and moving him on. So Mark Maguire's a centre half, not a full back. Rodic is going to go as well, so that's going to leave us one. So again, another area we might need to strengthen in the summer, and I'd probably look to bring in a Croatian understudy of some sort. Defensive midfielder, again, he's a centre half, so let's move all the ones that are out of position. Ethan Little can play there. He probably won't, but we might just keep him in there just for the time being. Deep line playmaker, defensive midfielder, ball winning midfielder, advanced play. He's probably not going to play now. He's got a yellow dot. Kalisic got a yellow dot, and Kazunjic not really in that position. Going back to the centre half briefly, then defensive midfielder. That's where again just making sure that I'm not playing them out of role. We'll just move them out of them positions. So we're just left with the pure defenders. Again, defensive midfielder, we'll move them out. Deep line playmaker, we'll move them out. So that gives us a good 7 players in them positions. We've got a good 5 players. I'm going to move Little out of there because I don't really want to play him in that position. So 4 really good young prospects coming in there. In terms of centre mids, again, let's move the ones that don't play as a flat centre. I'm going to leave Mohar in because he has played there last season and I think he can naturally play in that position. He's one of our better players. We'll keep Apostolov. Javorcic is deeper, so we'll drop him. Kanic, he can play both. He can play there. And then we'll drop Kalisic. And we've got Nkem. And again, they're in about the right order. So again, that's looking quite promising. Same on the other side. We'll just work through all these players. Move Kanic. Kalisic. Anyone else? Bakovic will move from there as well. And it just builds up a picture of who's going to play in each of them particular positions. Attacking midfielder on the right. We're not going to play our right back up there. Bukvic is strong. Isimovic is coming in. Takac can play there. Rakovina. Tolja. I'm going to probably make him an understudy up front. Jimovic can play midfielder. And Kodama, so again, fairly strong. Maybe just push Rakovina up pecking order. On the left, we'll take Little out. Take the Jesus out. Svoboda, yes. Not looking too bad on that left hand side. Still a little bit of room for Polavaniak to get in there, but he's not going to be able to play an advanced midfielder role anymore. And then finally up front we've got Boozy, Tolja, Takac. Zimovic is going to be dropped out of there. Oh, what's he like in his... No, he's not being a striker. And Subaric. So that kind of develops the squad, shows us the areas we might need to concentrate on if there is any flex in the transfer window, and then that should help us start to reshape the squad. So I'll get on, I'll start doing some business. If anyone crops up through the transfer window, through the scouting network, or there's any other moves, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I'll be back when all these players moved on contractually, and we should be left with no yellow dots and a whole stream of new players for us to evaluate. So stick around, I should be back in a little bit. And welcome back. So a very quick measure of success is how many yellow dots are left in the first team squad, and the answer is none. So in terms of outgoings for the transfer window, we have achieved our goals. Everyone with a little yellow dot next to their name has either been transferred out permanently or gone on loan. In terms of the players who've gone out loan, we can quickly just check in the under-19s, and we can see that of all them players, there are just 3 left. So I think we were looking to get around a huge number of players. We've got 3 yellow dots left, all out on loan. So highly successful transfer window in terms of outgoings. If we look at them outgoings, £23 million recouped. Perpic, Vijanovic, Top, Bognar, Veratovic, and Skoko all went. Skoko 1 wasn't on that list. Ike as well went to Benfica just to kind of free up some funds towards the tail end of the last season to reshape the squad. Kovacevic we've left to go to Al Reed. Ethan Little to Al Wender, so there's 10 million back in straight away from there. Takac went out on loan. Kalisic we finally moved on for a paltry fee of 57,000. Nicholas, the Brazilian, we went to free up some of our non-EU players. He's going at fee 1.5 rising to 2 million. And then quite a few loans of them players who are on the fringes of the squadron going out. And some of the new signings as well, which we'll go through shortly. But in terms of moving on those players that we wanted rid of, Kunzic as well going to Genoa, Lukanic going to Vallecano, again another 775,000 from there, albeit recouping a total of 23 million into the club. It looks like we've only spent 5 million there, but we have spent a little bit more. Some on that page and also a few on the tail end of this page as well. I think the last transfer you probably saw was Bakovic, was tail end of last season, just to see us through to the end. So from Noguchi onwards, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on that page, plus 3, 6, 9, 12, so 19 players all told. Next thing to do really is I'll just plumb them yellow dots away from the players who went out and put them on the players who've come in, and then we'll quickly evaluate the players we brought in through the squad planner, so I can show you position by position what we've brought in, strengthening wise and for future development. So stick around and I will show you all the newbies. Okay, so here we go. New players are plumbed in with little yellow dots so we can keep a track of them. And that's it in terms of the squad view. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 15 within the first team squad. How that looks in the squad planner then. We've got 2 goalkeepers. So Sergei Ivanov, the Ukrainian 22-year-old. Not as much potential we would have liked, but we brought him in as a rotational player to develop and maybe move on within the division or sell for a profit. Pretty sure we brought him in on a free transfer. We should be able to see in his history. Or no, he's going on. Yeah, so free transfer. Loaned him out to Melbourne City for a fee as well. So we're already generating some cash from him. Stats are pretty good actually, I think, for a goalkeeper. He's quite handy. I think he'll be a good useful backup within the squad. And then whether we just move him on or loan him within the division at the end, I think a profitable little move. Joe Almeida would come in last season being away on loan. He's now a first choice goalkeeper. That meant we had to bring in somebody as a understudy or a reserve for the majority of the league games and the Champions League, etc. So Maurice Basso we brought in from Italy. Again, 2.5-star current ability up to 4-star potential. Good stat spread around him, really good physical goalkeeper and tall as well. So at 21-year-old with 15 under 21 caps, I think he'll be quite a useful acquisition as well. £2 million, so a bit of an outlay, but I think if we can turn him around, develop him, he'll be a really useful player either to sell for a profit or keep long term as our reserve goalkeeper. In terms of left back, we let Little go away, made a bit of a profit on him. We've got Simic in there who we've sent out on loan, leaving us with a real big gap in the squadron. I thought probably best to bring in a Croatian player to develop as a bit of a kind of a homegrown in nation player. So we've brought in Ivo Klaric. Again, I think he's come in 1.3 million. Developmental player, a bit of an outlay on him. However, apart from the technicals, his mental and physicals looks pretty good. He's only 22 years old, so he's got a little bit of growth left in him. He'll gust up to 3, but I think in terms of a homegrown in nation player for squad registration rules, he's a really useful player to have in the squad. And you see with a couple of the transfers, we've tried to just build a little bit more of a base of Croatian players. At centre half, we've brought in quite a few, so we'll start at the bottom for the ones we've loaned straight back out. So Kasper Larsson, 22-year-old, we brought in as a developmental player. Again, I'm pretty sure we picked him up fairly cheap. Yeah, so free transfer. He's already got a little bit of value in him. Again, fairly good stat spread, not so much in front in the technicals, but the mentals and physicals are good. Loaned him at Lokomotiva as well. He's one of their best players on their in their league preview list. So 22-year-old Danish player, looked to turn for a profit and move on in another season or two, but he's there if he develops really well to keep as a player long term as well. After that, got Ryosuke Noguchi. Again, we brought him in on a really cheap fee, so 1.4 million. Brought him in, developmental player, 21-year-old centre back, 184 centimetres. Slightly better technical spread than some of the other players we brought in so far. Not quite as good in the mentals, but his physical's pretty solid, and he's got potential gusting up to 4.5 stars. So he's probably one to keep longer term, maybe use as one of the foreign national players, or move on depending on what else crops over the next few seasons. I think this will be the last massive influx of players we bring. I think we'll be quite selective moving on from here, but this is certainly a good start to get rotating some players, develop them around the division, and trying to take the next step as a club ourselves. Then we've got Mark Maguire, another centre-half from Scotland. I thought he would be one of the non-foreign players, however, they're not in the EU, so he's showing up as a foreign player. 2.5-star current, gusting up to 3.5-star. Again on loan at Lokomotiva, and again one of their better players in terms of the league. So again, we'll use him. He's got 4 caps for the Scottish national team. We'll keep a hold of him for a little bit, loan him out for a bit, see how he develops, and we'll either retain him for our own needs or we'll sell him on for a bit of a profit. Moving on to the slightly better ones in terms of the squad rotation, Alexander Czerniak, Polish 18-year-old. Much better picture in terms of, he's a physical monster, 194 centimetres tall, really good physicals, gusting up to 5-star potential. Mentals are pretty solid as well, and he's got marking and tackling and a bit of good technique on as well. So he will develop. He's already played a few games for us. He's going to be squad rotational. He doesn't need to be classed as a foreign player, which is good. And I see him playing many, many games over the course of the season and for many years to come. And then finally at centre-back, Dusan Gasparic, 19-year-old wonder kid. We've brought in 675,000. So considering he's the wonder kid compared to some of the other players, and he's our best centre-back, he's a really good acquisition for the club. Again, another physical monster like Czerniak. Really good spread of stats where he needs in the technical side, and his mentals are good as well. And at only 19 years old, he's got a long way to go in his development, but I think that his peak is going to be pretty high. So 2 really good long-term centre-halves in there, a couple developmental players for profit, and we're looking pretty handy. At right back, Bradley De Jesus, we mentioned him in the last episode, really solid Portuguese right back, can play a huge number of positions across the park. Again, really good physically, a little bit shorter, he can play on the wing, he's quite creative, and he's at his potential threshold, 25-year-old, maybe bring up the age of the squad in terms of experience as well. So pretty solid player, not going to set the world on fire in terms of what his development's going to take us to, but in terms of a non-foreign player in that position, useful. And we've backed him up with Franjo Simeunovic, another Croatian youngster. Tried to get him tail end of last season, but I couldn't get the funds up to bring him in. We've gone back in for him, 2.5-star current, gusting up to 3.5-star, and as a Croatian homegrown nation player, squad registration rules, he's going to be really useful. So again, trying to bring a mix of foreign players for development, but also a couple Croatians in there as well. Terms midfielders in the defensive midfield position, we've got a few. Marko Djumovic, again, really solid spread of stats, 22-year-old Croatian, building up that homegrown kind of the bulk of the squad as well for the European fixtures and domestically as well, but more importantly in that kind of European setting. Again, really useful player to have around in that defensive midfielder as cover for Bakovic. Vratislav Javorcic as well, another Croatian in that position, just rotational, keep him around the squad, and they can all play in any of the 3 midfield positions as well. So 2 really useful ones, although again not going to set the world on fire. Lucas Olsson, 23-year-old Swedish player we've brought in on loan from Juve. He looks a little bit better in terms of his attributes. He's got some development left on him. He's still understudy to Bakovic, because I think Bakovic is a little bit better in that position. But in terms of some real quality within the squad, he's come in on a loan for the season. And that's them in terms of defensive mid. Moving on to the full mids, no other players in there. As you can see, a couple of them players can play flat midfield as well, Olsen and Djumovic. Moving over to the left-hand side, we've got Bojic on loan, so 1 player just to bolster out the squad. Got him on loan from Hajduk, Montenegrin, 21 years old. Huge potential threshold, really handy, crossing, first touch and technique are amazing. His agility is good as well, so he's not played too many games so far, as we like to play a more advanced role, but again, a really good player to have in the squad, especially for the amount of games we've got to play in Europe and domestically. Over on the right hand side, we've got quite a few in here. Xavier Nazareno, Ecuadorian 19-year-old, he looks like he's going to develop into a really good player. Already 2.5 stars, 5-star potential, on loan at Barcelona SC, and yeah, he's going to be a really good player. He doesn't quite get in a team yet. I think he will soon. I don't think it takes him too much development before he's pushing. But yeah, really, really good developmental player to have in the squad, and I'm excited to see what he does over the next couple of years while he's on loan. Roko Hasimovic, again, similar position, inside forward. Again, 19-year-old Croatian, develop him on that side. He's 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. Again, homegrown at Nation. Just that squad registration is really important. We get some more Croatian players in there. Can't stress it enough. And he fits the bill as a player that could be with us for a number of years. And then finally, Mikkel Rzinski, or Mike Wazowski as I like to call him. He's come in as a first teamer on that side, and he's a Polish 23-year-old. He's at his potential already. I mean, 23, 3 stars. I think he looks better than 3 stars. He's got a really good stat spread. He's got the dribbling, first touch and finishing is really good. His physicals are really good. His average ratings so far have been really good as well. So I think he's a really special player on that right hand side, and I'm glad we got him. In terms of the centre forwards, again, Fernando Silva, we've got another Brazilian, 19 years old, really good special stat spread. He's only 2-star current ability. We loaned him back to the club we got him from. 4.5-star potential. We'll let him do a season out on loan and see what he looks like when he comes back. Bastian Bakker, again another one snapped up from Austria. Good stat spread, not quite as high potential threshold, but still a handy player nonetheless. We'll put him out on loan at TSV Hartberg and see what he looks like come next season. And then finally, Moez Tounzi, he's not with us yet. We're waiting until the January transfer window when he signs. He is a slightly better player than all the strikers we've got. Technique, free kick taking, finishing, stamina and flair, all in the green. So on the 18th of January, he'll come in and he'll take a place in the first team. He scored 13 goals in 22 games domestically for his club already. We want some of that over at Vukovar, so it'll be exciting when he comes through. In terms of progress so far, financially, we've got 26 million in the bank, and the projection I think looks about the same, about 21 million. So that's looking really good. We're still trying to make some other changes. We've not moved into the new stadium. I thought it was June last year. It's going to be June this year, so we've still got to wait for that to happen. In terms of the club vision, all looking pretty good. We've done the transfers, the schedule. We've only lost a couple games. Friendlies went quite well. Champions League path, lost initially to Levski, but beat them 4-0 in the return leg to get through to the next qualifier. Leipzig, we drew 1-1 at home, went and beat them 3-0 away. I think they got a red card in that game, and that put us comfortably into the next round. And then Austria Vienna, we lost 2-1 in the first leg, but beat them 4-1 in the second leg when we were at home, and that put us into the group phase, where we've played Valencia, who comfortably beat us 3-1 despite a goal from Mike Wazowski, and then Ludogorets we managed to beat 3-2, and we've got more games to come. Looking at the fixtures we got in that, I think we're going to get beat by Liverpool. We've got to concentrate on the Kaskiewicz, Slavia Prague, Salzburg's games. If we can get 7 to 9 points from them, it might see us enough to get into the playoffs. I can't see us doing too much against the Ajax, Juventus or Salzburg, but we'll see. In terms of league domestically, we've had a couple of draws in here, I think. So a draw at Macedonia, who are bottom of the league, which I think we've struggled with the amount of Champions League fixtures we've had initially. They're coming thick and fast, and the squad is struggling at times in terms of fitness. The draw with Hajduk isn't the end of the world, but the draw with Varaždin is a little bit damaging. What that means in terms of the league is we're second, 25 points, 3 points behind Hajduk. Boozy's been out injured, so again we've struggled in the first few games of the season. He's now back, but after the first couple of games he got out injured and he's missed the bulk of the game so far. So he'll come back in, make us do till January, at which point we get our new Swedish striker and we can see out the rest of the season. So a lot of promise for this one, a lot of player turnaround, a lot of players out on development. It's time to get on with it and see what we can do for the season. So I'll end the episode there. I'll come back at the end of season review. We'll see how all these players have done. We won't look at them too much in terms of what they've done so far. We'll just review them at the end of the season, see if they've been successes or not. And until then, enjoy your saves, enjoy your football, and I'll see you soon.